Hey everyone, I'm Joe and today I'm going to be talking about what I read in March 2016, or in other words, my readings up for the month. March was a bad month because I have been in a reading slump for the month, unfortunately. Every time I picked up a book, I just try to read it and I just really struggle to get into anything. And I've only read 4 books in March, which for me is about at least half of what I normally read, if not much less than half. So it was a bad month, but I still managed to read 4 books. 2 of them were particularly good, the other 2 were reasonable. And without further delay, I'll start talking about them. The first book that I read was A Wanted Man by Lee Child. This is the 17th in the Jack Reacher series. I've been reading these for a while now, so you may be familiar with them. The idea of the Jack Reacher series is indeed about a character called Jack Reacher, who is an ex-military policeman in America. He is now wandering around America, being a tourist within his own country, and he keeps getting into situations and then has to get himself out of them. And this was an okay one, but there were several parts of the plot that just felt very, very, very silly, and I'm pretty sure that I'm getting jaded with the Jack Reacher series now. I mean, this is the 17th, so the ideas are starting to feel very familiar, and I mean overly familiar, really, which is a shame. But I'll see. I mean, I've got 1 more to go in the series, and then I've run out of books for now of these. So we'll see. But I gave it 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, so decent, but nothing special. The second book that I read was A Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan. This is the 7th book in the Wheel of Time series, and there are 14 in total, so I'm halfway now. And this is an epic or high fantasy series, and Robert Jordan was stated, although he's dead now, saying that he was inspired by Tolkien and The Lord of the Rings, and indeed it does have a certain feel to it like Tolkien. And I like these books, and they are extremely well written, but they are very long and everything about them is very drawn out. So you do need a lot of time to read them, and I do enjoy them, and I've marked all of them, including this one, 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. But I don't think it's going to be a series that I class as a brilliant favourite series of mine of all time in the future. They're good, just not anything truly astonishing, at least not to me, because they're very drawn out to a almost excessive and sort of unnecessary level, frankly. The third book that I read was Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton. This is a science fiction space opera novel. It is the first of 2 in the Commonwealth saga, and it's very, very big. It's like 1,260 pages or so. It's massive. The second one is actually fractionally longer. It's actually hitting 1,300, so it's like a 2,500 page duology, which is considerable. I loved this book. I actually did a buddy read of this with Michael, Caitlin and Rachel, and so far they haven't enjoyed as much as I did. I love this book, but I've read Hamilton before. I've read the Void trilogy by him, and this is actually the earlier book to the Void trilogy. The Void trilogy is actually set in the same universe, Commonwealth, but almost 1,200 years later. This is much earlier, and I really enjoyed it. It has multiple characters in multiple locations, multiple points of view, with multiple objectives, sprawling all over the place. A lot of the things in the book are not finished off, because of course there is a second one which I have behind me called Judas Unchained, and I really enjoyed it. Basically, I like this kind of big sprawling adventure, and I like Hamilton. The others didn't like it as much because the way he writes does take a certain acquired taste, frankly. Hamilton is, I think. And I did rate this really highly though. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I love Hamilton, and I'm really looking forward to getting on to the second one, which I'm going to start in the next week. And I'm also going to do a review of it, of the both Commonwealth books, in the near future as well, so I'm not going to say anything more about it now. The fourth and final book that I read in March was Riotous Assembly by Tom Sharpe. This is now the 5th book by Tom Sharpe. I've been working through a box that I've got of his in the previous few months, and this was brilliant. Yet again, this made me laugh so much I was crying and my face was all red and I felt I was going to break a rib. This is dark satirical humour and it's set in Africa during the apartheid years over there. And Tom Sharpe lived in Africa, and indeed he actually had to leave Africa back for England because of his views on apartheid. He obviously didn't approve of apartheid, same as I don't, and he actually was forced out of the country because he was very much anti-apartheid and the government basically told him they had to leave. This book kind of proves it though, because he's been horribly, brutally sarcastic and funny about apartheid, and essentially he's taking the piss really badly out of what does it matter what colour you are? You know, we're still the same people, it's just a skin colour, it's just colour. Does that really matter? I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I think that, and as far as I'm concerned, there should be no issue with colour because it is just colour. And in this, he explores it in really interesting ways. It's a old English woman, white English woman, who ends up shooting her manservant and lover, who happens to be black. The local policeman, who is a white African, who is openly racist, same as most of the police force in this little area, he investigates, and there are a series of misunderstandings and everybody gets the wrong end of the stick completely. Nobody quite understands what the others are trying to say or do, and there is absolute chaos. There are multiple deaths in the book. Actually, there's an awful lot of deaths in the book, actually. It's got nearly the highest death count of the Tom Sharpe so far. And he just brutally makes a brilliant point about apartheid and how, frankly, stupid, you know, racial segregation is. And I loved this book. It was really, really funny, but also extremely intelligently written. There's little points in the book that really go together well. I mean, earlier points in the book lead on to later points that you don't realise until afterwards, and then you realise, hang on, that was linked to that, and then it becomes even better because you're actually thinking about it days after you've read the book. I mean, I was actually thinking about this for probably a week afterwards, thinking of the various points and the various links that, frankly, was genius, and I loved this book. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads without fail, and I'm looking forward to the next Tom Sharpe, basically. So, with that said, that's it for this video. I did say I hadn't read much. If you've read any of these or would like to read any of them, then please leave me a comment in the comments below and we can have a conversation. And all my social media links can be found in the description box below, along with a list of these books written out in full. And with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.